Hello, everyone. Today is Friday, October the 16th, and this is the 20th edition of Book Fun Friday. Welcome. The young adult novel I'm going to be talking about today is titled After Tupac and D. Foster, and it's written by the author Jacqueline Woodson. A couple things you need to know about this book before I can talk about this book. First of all, y'all know I'm a high school librarian. So I mostly deal in books that fit primarily for grades 9 through 12. Well, this book actually would work at both the middle school and the high school levels. I love that. I love that a 7th grader could pick up this book and read it and love it, and a senior in high school could pick up and read and love this book as well. There's just something so lovely about a piece of literature that can transcend both worlds. I really appreciate that, and this book definitely does that. Second thing you need to know about this book, it's constructed in what I like to call the Disney movie format. And this is what I mean about Disney movie format. Y'all know how when you watch a Disney movie, there are things in a Disney movie that are definitely there to entertain children. And then there are other pieces of the movie that are subtler, they go right over the kids' heads, but they're there to entertain the adults. This book is formatted very much that way, and I say that because there are pieces of the story that are subtle, and there's complexity in this story that an adult would appreciate, that an adult would get on a deep level while enjoying the story, that maybe a younger person would not get, but it would not prevent the younger person from understanding the story or appreciating the story in the way that I or another adult reading it would. So it's that Disney movie format. So let me tell you about this particular novel. The characters in this novel, or the protagonists, there are 3 in this novel, are 3 girls who at the outset of the story are 11 years old. Now 2 of the girls, one is named Nika, the other is Nika's best friend, who's the narrator of the book and is never named. Kind of a cool thing. It's open-ended character, so you can definitely see yourself reflected in that character. But these 2 girls have been best friends since infancy, basically. And one day, a 3rd girl who introduces herself as Dee Foster walks into Nika and Nika's best friend's lives, and then it becomes the 3 of them, and then the rest of the story is about the emergence of their friendship and how these girls get to know each other and the stories of each of their lives, especially the story about Dee. Dee is a foster child. You got that right. Dee Foster. She's a foster child whose foster mom gives her a lot more freedom than either Nika and Nika's best friend have. And so Nika and her friend are just enamored of her in a way, of course, that a young girl would be, wishing to, have that kind of freedom for herself. But conversely, Dee is enamored of Nika and Nika's best friend because they have stability. They have parents in their lives. They have homes. They don't have that same rough backstory that Dee, has. And so those differences really bond those girls together. The reason that Tupac is referenced in the title here, Dee loves him, loves his music, and really identifies with him both as an artist and as a person. If you know anything about Tupac, he had a difficult relationship with his own mother. She was a drug addict. They were homeless sometimes. They were on welfare. It was not the easiest life growing up with her as his mother, but he adored her. And so despite the struggles, she was still so very important to him, just like in Dee's situation, being in foster care, she also has a difficult relationship with her own mother, and so she feels this connection there with Tupac. I'm going to share a brief passage then. This is when Nika and Nika's best friend meet Dee Foster for the first time. Seems like I'd always known Nika. From our first baby steps, I remember the big hands of our mamas lifting us up out of the playpens. I remember the smell of our mama's coffee and the way their voices got all quiet when they were gossiping, while me and Nika chased each other around their legs and laughed at stupid stuff like Elmo and the way dust turned all shiny when it got in front of some sun. Nika had come running to me first, when she kissed Tony Anderson in her hallway. His lips tasted funny, she had said, scrunching up her face, like old cigarette ashes or something. And later on, when we'd seen Tony up at the park, him and his boys passing a cigarette around, Nika had run back home and started rinsing her mouth out real hard with mouthwash and a washcloth. "How come you let me kiss that nasty old boy?" she'd said. And I just sat there on her toilet seat laughing at her craziness. But Dee was different. She just appeared one day. Summer wasn't even over yet, but fall was already turning a few of the leaves on our block red and gold. Me and Nika had bought matching jean jackets with white stitching on the pockets for when school started, and we had worn them that day with these brown velvet pants we had. We had walked up and down the block thinking we were bad, but we were just hot in our fall gear. We'd come back and sat down hot and sweaty on Nika's stoop. Down from my house, some little kids were taking turns on a sit-and-spin toy, and we watched them, one by one, get up off of it and fall down on the ground from dizziness. When I looked away from watching them, I saw her standing across the street, leaning against somebody's gate, watching us. Something about the way she stood there just looking. No smile, no frown, nothing. It just caught something in me. It made my heart jump a bit. Something about the way she stood there was real familiar to me. Like the way I'd want to stand someplace new and watch people I didn't know. "Who's that girl over there, staring us down like that?" I said to Nika. Nika looked to where Dee was standing and shrugged. Then she stood up. "You looking for somebody?" Nika said. It wasn't a real unfriendly voice, just a little. "Not really." And I guess she thought that was an invitation to cross the street, because that's when she came over to us. I looked her up and down. She was tall and skinny and looked like she thought she was cute with her green eyes and pretty sort of halfway smiling at us. Her hair was in a bunch of braids with black rubber bands at the end of every single one. The braids were long, coming down over her shoulder and across her back, and her hair was this strange, dark, coppery color I'd never seen on a black girl. Well, not naturally. She was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Hello, my name is," in green letters, only there wasn't a name after that, so it didn't make any sense whatsoever. I looked down at her feet. She had on white girl clogs like you saw on the girls on TV, the ones with blonde hair who live in places like California or Miami or somewhere. Everything about her was screaming, "I'm not from around this way." "Are those your real eyes?" Nika asked right off. I'd never seen green eyes up close like that, but that wouldn't have been my first question. "Yeah," Dee said. "Everybody be asking me that. This is my own hair, too, color and everything. It used to be real light, but it's getting darker every year. Figure by the time I'm grown, it'll be jet black." I stared at her, wondering what it would be like to have hair that changed like that, to have eyes that green against that tannish skin. She looked back at me, and for a minute, or maybe for a few minutes, we just stared, like we were trying to take in every single bit of each other, each of us trying to figure the other one out. And again, this book is titled After Tupac and Dee Foster, and it's written by Jacqueline Woodson. Well, y'all, thank you for watching. I can't believe we're up to 20 Book Fun Fridays. This is so exciting. Next week, the Book Fun Friday will be a little bit different. So if you're interested in hearing a children's book read, you'll want to tune in for that. In the meantime, continue taking care of yourself. I hope you're well and healthy, and your friends and your family are well and healthy, and everybody continues to be so. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.